Jrue Holiday isn't one of the flash-out or braggadocio guards in the NBA, but when the Pelicans signed him to a $125 million extension, they didn't necessarily want him to be. His silky smooth style and calm demeanour often go unnoticed around the league. But like many things in the NBA, defense is often a trait that gets overlooked for its inability to create consistent highlight reel plays. Holiday has, for the past few years, become known to be a really good two-way player. If you look at Jrue's individual numbers from a defensive perspective, you'd be hard-pressed to make an argument that he's an elite defender. He posts a 106 defensive rating, which isn't great. His steal percentage ranks 44th in the league for guards who have played over 1,000 minutes. His block percentage ranks 13 for guards who have played over 1,000 minutes, and his defensive box plus minus is negative 0.5, which is nowhere near the top of the league. So why then should we consider Jrue Holiday an elite defender worthy of consideration for all defense? Well, first we need to acknowledge the output of defensive effort. See, unlike offense in the NBA, where an individual can fill the box score with all kinds of stats, often by himself, defense relies heavily on teammates working in conjunction with one another to put players in the best position to showcase their defensive capabilities. Often a play can break down all because one player wasn't doing their job in that defensive scheme. So that leads to the second point, when we dig a little bit deeper and examine Holiday's impact on the Pelicans when he's on and off the court. When Holiday is on the court, the Pelicans post a 106 defensive rating, but when he's off the court, it jumps to a staggering 115.6, which is a 9.5 point differential. This difference in on and off court ranks in the 97th percentile in the entire NBA. One of the big reasons for this is that when Holiday is on the court, they do a much better job of protecting the rim. Holiday's defense, combined with Davis and Cousins, gives teams problems when trying to get to the basket. The difference when Holiday is on and off the court puts him in the 94th percentile. So what about the how? How is Holiday such a good defender? Well, for that, we're going to have to take a look at the film. This first possession is an important one, showcasing two of Holiday's greatest attributes. One, his basketball IQ, and two, his length when contesting shots. The Pelicans have a 3-point lead in overtime and they need a stop. Kyrie Irving and the Celtics have a timeout, but they elect not to use it. Rather, they want to isolate against a defense that isn't set. Holiday knows that the Celtics need a 3. Irving often does a good job of using his handles to get a defender to backpedal and give him the separation he needs to hit a 3-pointer. Here though, Holiday isn't biting on it. He stays disciplined and has his feet firmly planted on the 3-point line. If he wants a layup, fine, go for it, have the 2 points. This is Jrue's strong basketball smarts on defense. The second part is his length. When Irving attempts his shot, Jrue has the length and size not just to get up and contest the shot well, but he has the body position to cramp Irving's shot making. The next possession here highlights Jrue's nimbleness and astute awareness on navigating screens. The game is in the balance, so a stop here against the Chicago Bulls would swing it well in the Pelicans' favour. The Bulls are setting a double screen for Jerian Grant. Holiday navigates around Lopez, who tries his best but can't put a body on him, but it's not over. Lopez goes back up the top to set a screen on Holiday. From here, we can see that he gets very good contact on Jrue, and Grant has plenty of room to manoeuvre into space at the top of the key. However, Holiday fights through the screen, uses his length, and doesn't give up. He knows he has Cousins icing the pick down low, so what he doesn't want at the very minimum is for Grant to get a look from 3. If he stays with the ball long enough, he can get back into position, which, as you can see, he does with his excellent lateral quickness. He cuts off Grant, who has a decent path to the basket. He slides so effortlessly to prevent him from getting a decent look. This forces Grant to pick up his dribble in a panic. Holiday senses this, and his long arms and active hands poke the ball away for the steal. This is a brilliant example of all of Holiday's traits meshing into one. His shoulder dip to get around the screen, his effort not to give up when getting screened, his lateral quickness, and his long arms and active hands get a key steal for the Pelicans. And take a look at earlier in the game against the Bulls. New Orleans was down big to Chicago, and Jrue's defense kicked the start of the comeback. Here we can see him hound the point guard all the way up the court and into the set. By the time the ball gets inside the 3-point line, there's just 4 seconds left on the clock. Unfortunately, it ends in 2 points, but this is what defense is supposed to be. Make it as difficult as possible on the offense and limit their options. And Jrue is relentless. His on-ball pressure is lethal. Here on this possession, Chicago sets a screen up top in the hopes of forcing a switch. But because of Jrue's pressure, he easily navigates it. The Bulls then run an off-ball screen where Mirotic is to continue for a dribble handoff. It's a bit of an awkward exchange, but Jrue senses where it's going and follows Nikola all the way up to the Smoothie King logo. It's at this point that the main action of the offense has been stifled and there's just 12 seconds left in the possession. The Bulls are now improvising to get any decent look. This is where defense is so important. It's caused the other team's otherwise well-run set to turn into chaos. The Pelicans are then able to switch much of the rest of the way and are then bailed out by a pretty soft foul call. Jrue's defense would continue to spur the Pelicans in their comeback. It was the key factor that led to it, but you won't see it in any box scores. No national pundits will laud what was an elite performance. I get why everyone was amazed with Boogie's 40, 20, 10 triple-double. Just as impressive was Jrue's effort on this night. Even towards the end of the game, Chicago just decided some of their sets wouldn't even attack him. Here you can see Grant even ties his own shoe. Anticipation. It's something that combines both basketball knowledge, usually due to film study or knowing a team's plays, but it's also instincts. When is the right time to strike and take a calculated risk? Jrue Holiday also has excellent anticipation. This first play, the Rockets are trying to get James Harden on an isolation against a much smaller defender in Rajon Rondo. Holiday knows that 1, Harden is getting the ball no matter what because he has the smaller defender on him, and 2, he knows that even though Ariza is a lethal shooter, he has the length and quickness to recover to contest a 3-point shot. Jrue, after processing this in real time, then takes that calculated risk and strikes, jumping the pass entry. Unfortunately, the ball goes out of bounds, but it was a hell of a defensive play that usually results in a steal. Even when Holiday gets beat, or even when he's seemingly out of the play, he can still make an impact. Here, Ariza gets him good with a really nice screen and does a good job of showing for the roll. Jrue doesn't give up though and hustles back and anticipates the bounce pass from Harden. The Rockets then go back to this play later, but this time Ariza fades to the top of the arc, forcing a switch. Jrue here is caught ball watching, which is hard not to do when it's James Harden. This allows Ariza to slip in behind for a seemingly wide open layup. But this is why defense is a team endeavor, as we spoke before. See how Clark and Cunningham both help to prevent the layup? This forces Ariza then to bail out and seek an open shooter on the right-hand side. Holiday, anticipating this, then jumps the pass to steal the ball. This possession wasn't one of Jrue Holiday's bests, but it does highlight what we were talking about earlier, anticipation. Holiday has such a good feel for the game that he can often take risks that others can't. The final clip that I'll examine will demonstrate Holiday's communication to help his teammates out. Here Los Angeles is sort of running one of their different dribble drag pin down sets, except this time the first flare is just a diversion for the second one. What makes this work for the Pelicans is Jrue's clear communication to point out to Liggins that he'll switch onto his man. Then, once the action begins, you can hear him audibly yell, "It's coming back to you."
That hurts.
This gives Liggins the information he needs to read the play and jump the pass. It's a brilliant synchronization of two teammates working with one another to stop what is a very nice play design. No doubt is Jrue a brilliant individual defender. His impact and importance to the Pelicans is questioned quite a bit, mainly for what I believe is the inability to easily point to box score statistics. It's easy for the casual NBA fan to denigrate the Pelicans for offering him such a big contract last offseason. His offense has been better this year, but it will never be at the level of the elite guards in the league. But it's Holiday's defense which is the reason as to why he is such a vital piece to the New Orleans Pelicans, because without him, they'd be in serious trouble on the defensive end of the court. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. I'm hoping to do more of these in the future, so if you have any suggestions or any feedback, just drop it in the comments section below. Make sure that you head to our website at BourbonStreetShots.com and check us out on Twitter at BourbonStreetShots. Alright, until next time.